This video is for those nerds out there that might be curious about more details on how we did this. If you have a good ear, you can probably already hear that the amp is clicking. That's the tremolo effect. I can turn it down. All right. So this is fully in the upper octave part. It's a really quiet, soft, low octave, but you can hear it. That's my effect pedal. I heard that Claude might be good at designing a circuit, so I wondered, can it make an effects pedal? And my original vision was it splits it into the upper lower octave, the upper has tremolo, and the lower has reverb, kind of give it like a wave effect. That way it's kind of like splitting the Red Sea. And then in my mind, I just have all this running, and I have the idea of having like the pedal board itself has like the little button on it that you press, like for this one. Could be Moses's staff, and it would just like fit with the with the whole thing. Obviously, I'm not going to make that. I don't know how to fabricate that, so this is what we're working with. It took me a lot longer to develop than I would like to admit. I will say, what all is here, most of this is stuff that I would have in my electrical class kits from college. I will say everything, except I had to buy these 1/4 inch and then solder wires to them, which isn't really that hard. And then a lot of these, like this first one here is like a buffer, and then this one like jumps the signal up a bunch. That's stuff that I had from classes before. I think one of these latter ones, which takes the octave down, I don't remember which one, but that was new. So one of those is new. I had to buy more diodes, which we ended up not using, so. And something I wish I would have done was bought more capacitors, because a lot of the ones that I had for my classes were all polarized, and my genius brain didn't really think about the implications of that with an audio signal that isn't just DC stuff, that I actually do need it to be non-polarized. But I scrambled around and I had enough from classes, as you can see. And then honestly, fitting this all on a breadboard was a little challenging, as you can. Oh, I also had to get this transistor. That's what's doing the tremolo right here. And then, yeah, that's what's doing the tremolo. And so, because you can see out of it comes the high end tremolo, which goes over here to the potentiometer. But yeah, that's about it. It took me a long time because I had my snafu with the polarized caps, which I could still use for the power and ground control. But for audio stuff, you need these ceramic type ones, or I use some of these guys too. And then in general, it was just a lot to fit on one breadboard, so it took some finagling. Obviously, in general, when you're dealing with audio, I probably wouldn't want a wire this long. I'd probably love it if I can redo some of these, but it's challenging because you have a 5-volt power that you're using for some of the logic stuff. I don't think we used it a ton, to be honest. Looks like we used it for this chip, and that's it. So I probably could have just driven straight 5 volts to that chip. Would have been nice to have an extra power bank down here that has the 12 volt on it, which is coming over here. 12 volts, and that's what powers a lot of these chips, to be honest. 12 volts goes on some of the chip inputs, but a lot of them are powered by a 6 volt created from that 12 volt. So I kind of wish I had two 12 volt power strips instead of having a 5 volt and a 12 volt and then shared grounds. But other than that, wasn't too bad at all. AI made an okay circuit diagram. There was stuff that wasn't labeled right, so we worked through that. And I think the biggest upside is that it didn't label all of the inputs, outputs on the chips within the circuit diagram, so you run into like, oh, I didn't know you needed to have all of these other ones also grounded, and which I could have avoided if I just looked up the data sheet of the chips, but I did not do that. But that's it. It's a pretty simple setup. I'm gonna link the circuit that they gave me, and then in some future time I have to spend some time re-diagramming it with the edits that we needed to correct it, because it was not correct. And most of these resistors I already had, all these resistors I already had. I had all these capacitors. I wish I had an extra capacitor kit. Those are really the only changes. And I'd probably just use this bottom power strip to get more. I ran out of the 6 volt reference, so that's why there's these weird jumpers that go to awkward places all around, because I had one place where I was getting that 6 volt reference. And looking back, I could have moved it down here and moved this 5 volt directly to this pin that needed it. But that is our Moses parting the Red Sea guitar pedal effect.